Hello, my name is Talen Abar, and welcome to my session about CloudGuard VE deployment guide and how to deploy it on VMware ES6i. This is a drawing of our demo environment. We have three servers. We have the VM host, the physical server, and two VMs, a web and a database. We also have the CloudGuard VE gateway, and we have three different switches, one for the web, one for the database, and one for the internet, vcenter, and smart center environment, our management platform. This is our web environment, demo environment. And over here, we can connect to all of our environment and do the demo. The first step we want to do is open the Chrome browser. From the Chrome browser, we want to connect into the WebSphere web client, and as you can see, the passwords are pre-populated in our case. Once the screen is uploaded, the first thing we want to do is upload the ISO file into the SaaS system. We will go to the host and choose data stores. Inside, we will pick the browse files to see which files are uploaded into the data store. We want to make sure that we know where our file has been, so we will open a new folder called VE. And to that folder, we will upload the ISO file, which is located on downloads, R80.10 ISO file, and we will let that file upload into the system. Depends on your connectivity, that process can take up to 2-3 minutes. Next, after we see that the file has been uploaded correctly, we will go back to the hosts and machines and choose the cluster object in order to create the VM which will run the ISO file we choose. So we will create new virtual machine. We will pick to create a new virtual machine. We will give it a name VE gateway. On the next step, we need to choose where we want to deploy it, and this will be the host 10.0050. And now we want to choose the data store. So we will choose our data store. We will leave the compatibility as is. And for the guest OS, we will choose family is other, and the version will be FreeBSD 64-bit. Next is all the parameters of the specific machine. The minimum number of CPUs are 2. We will change the memory to 3 gig of RAM. The hard disk will be changed to 80 gig. And we will stretch that section in order to choose theme provisioning. We will collapse it again and make sure to move into the new CD or DVD and change it to data store on ISO file. We need to choose which file we want, so we will pick our data store, the VE folder, and then the file itself. And we want to make sure that it connects at power on. Now, if you remember, we have 3 segments in our deployment. So we need to add 2 more NICs to our deployment. We will make sure that one of them is connected to the web database or the web segment, and the other one to the database segment. Now we just need to review our configuration and click Finish. And we see that the VE is created instantly. On the next phase, we will go into the VE machine and click on the play button to start it. You can see on the screen that the machine is started. You will see the logo of VMware, and if we'll double click on that, we will see the console opened. The first screen we'll see is to deploy the Gaia on the machine, and we will choose to do so. We will let that process start rolling. We have shortened those stages in this movie, and we will click OK to start the installation process. We will choose the US keyboard. We will leave the hard disk configuration or the disk size as is. And we need to choose the password for the admin account. You can choose the one that you prefer, of course. And now the machines start to deploy. We need to choose which management port we choose, so it will be ETH0. And we need to change our IP configuration to the one that fits our environment. That will be 10.0.0.75 on class C, and the default gateway will be 10.0.0.1. Next stage is to format all of our hard drives, and we will choose OK. And now the process starts. It takes between 5 to 10 minutes to deploy it. Of course, we shortened that a little bit in our movie. And once it's finished, we need to click Reboot to let the machine start with the Gaia, the new Gaia OS that we've just started. And once we see the login phase again, we need to connect to it via web portal. We will choose to do so in the Explorer browser. So we will open the Explorer browser and connect via HTTPS to that machine. We will insert the admin username and the password we've just created, and we will start running the first time wizard. We will choose the continue the R80.10 configuration, and we will make sure that the configuration of ETH0 is the same as we've inserted before. We will change ETH1 to be configured manually, and we will choose to enter the IP address, which is 10.1.0.101, and the class will be class B, 255.255.0.0. We won't touch the device information, and we will not change the data and time settings. We want to choose a security gateway. So the first one is the right one. And we want to uncheck the security management tab. We can leave the mark on the blade activation. We don't want it to be DHCP enabled. We need to enter a SIG key, which will allow us to connect to our management platform. And finish. Now the platform will ask for a reboot, and then the configuration process will start. It takes a little bit of time as well. And it will ask us to reboot the machine again. We will wait until the platform starts again and reconnect to the Gaia web portal. If you remember, we already configured two interfaces, so now we need to configure the third one. So once the GUI is started, we will go to Network Interfaces, ETH2, and click on the Edit to change it. We will enable it, check the enable, and add the IP address 10.2.0.201. Or, since this is the default gateway, it will be 1. The database server will be 201. Next, we need to connect to our VE gateway to make sure that we have the connectivity to the different servers inside our environment. So we will start by pinging the two different servers, the 10.1.0.101, the web server, and then we will connect to the database server, the 10.2.0.201, and we will see that it's configured. Let's go back and start the Smart Console. From the desktop. And what we want to do in that screen is to configure the CloudGuard gateway inside our management. So we will go to the middle bar and choose Gateway in a wizard mode. We will add a name and the platform. We can choose VSEC, or in a certain versions it will be changed to CloudGuard. The IP address is 10.0075. Next is the SIC key that we chose on the first time wizard. We will make sure that everything is configured correctly and approve. And now the machine is connected to our platform. We will go into the security policy and change the cleanup rules, the last rule, to have a tracking and a log in order to make sure that everything is configured and that we can access our connection between the management platform and the gateway correctly. Once everything has passed successfully and the policy has been installed, we want to go with an SSH session to our management platform and start the CloudGuard controller. And we will do so by entering the command vsec on or CloudGuard on, depend on your version. After we've done that, we will go back to the Smart Console and we will define the data center object. So we will go to the object pane, to new, more, server, data center, and we will choose the vcenter that is our intention right now. We need to enter a name for the data center object, an IP address, username, and the password. And to test the configuration. The first time will fail because we need to approve the certificate. Once it's approved, it's connected, and now we can start working. But before everything will be able to work, we need to publish our changes in order to make the service up and running on the management and start communicating with the vCenter platform. On the security policy, we will go and add a rule above that allow all traffic to go to the web server. We will go to the destination, click on the plus sign, and click on the import button from the vCenter. Now we see all the objects that are defined on the vCenter, and we will choose the web server one. If we're hovering above that object, we will see all the configuration and we will see that it came from the vCenter. It's a virtual machine. Next phase is to define the services, which are HTTP and SSH. We will allow the traffic to go to that machine, but we want to log it to make sure that we are tracking that log. We will add another rule below that first one that initiate traffic from the web server to the database server. And we will repeat the process of importing an object from the vCenter, but this time we will choose the DB server one. We will go to services and applications and add three services: MS SQL, SSH, and ICMP protocol. We will change the action to allow and the tracking to log. And now, in order to force that policy, we will install it. We need to make sure that everything is passed successfully before we can continue. Next, we will connect to the SSH via SSH to our web server. As you can see, the password is pre-populated. And we will try to initiate connection to the database. So we have pre-prepared scripts. One of them is connection test, which initiate ICMP to the database server. And the second script, which is an SQL query, again, to the database server from the web. And after those two services passed successfully, we will go back to the Smart Console into the log and monitor in order to make sure that that traffic passed through the VE gateway. And we can see that the web server approached database server with two services, MS-SQL and ICMP protocol on rule number 2. This concludes our demo on how to deploy CloudGuard VE on VMware ESXi. I hope you find that movie helpful, and I hope to see you soon in one of our next session. Thank you.